Sandy says read, and welcome to the channel. This evening, you guys, we are going to do a review and discussion of Days of Darkness by Steven Zimmer. Before we begin, we'll do a couple quick housekeeping items just to get these things out of the way. I want to invite you guys to subscribe to the channel. Invite your friends to subscribe to the channel too. Can you see this? Yes, okay. It's been a hot minute since I've recorded anything, so I'm out of practice. I don't know what I'm doing. As if I know what I'm doing when I'm in practice, right? Okay, you guys, I welcome you to subscribe to the channel because, yeah, it's a little zany and wacky around here, but also we talk about books around here. We do book reviews, we do booktube tags, all kinds of bookish stuff here at Sandy Says Read, and you don't want to miss that. So subscribe, click the bell notification icon so that you're notified each time I do wacky stuff. Especially click the bell notification icon because the book that we'll be discussing this evening will be discussed again Thursday evening. Thursday, June 20th, right? Yes, Thursday, June 20th, Steven Zimmer will be joining us here in a live stream interview to talk about Days of Darkness. And if you're a subscriber, you'll be notified that that is happening. You won't miss it. Also, you guys, I wanted to mention, I haven't mentioned this for a little while because I do have a bingo card generator so that you can follow along here and click off the happy little items as I say them and play bingo here at Sandy Says Read. There are no prizes for this. It's just a fun little thing to do. And each time that I say one of these wacky phrases, like hold please, you get to check it off the list. You get the dopamine hit from that, and it's great and fun. That's it. Are you ready to begin this review? I'm going to warn you guys, this review is of a horror novel, okay? It is a dark, unsettling horror novel, okay? I'll read for you a synopsis of the novel and I'll show you the cover. Let's get the cover up here on the screen. There you go. There is Days of Darkness from Steven Zimmer. And in fact, this cover is done by Graham Ganson. He's the one who put that together. He's the one who did that illustration, that kind of dark and scary illustration, right? Yeah, there's our cover. I read the ebook version of Days of Darkness. Steven did provide the ebook to me for an honest review during his blog tour, during his tour for the book, to promote the book. So there that is. Let me get back out of this screen, you guys. All right. Let me give you the specs and then give you the synopsis. The specs are Days of Darkness, a hellscapes novel. This is 222 pages. The ebook that I read was 222 pages. Copyright 2024 from Seventh Star Press. The editor is Holly Philippi. Shout out to Holly. The cover design, like I just mentioned, is Graham Ganson. And the version that I read, the ebook version, was all one flowing, quick chapter, one long chapter of just constant darkness and despair and horror. It was all one chapter. And it was divided up into scenes. I mean, I don't want to give the impression that it was like all one long scene of darkness and despair. It was broken up into scenes and vignettes of horror and despair. Okay, so let me give you a synopsis, and I'll be reading this off the screen. Book synopsis for Days of Darkness. Ambrose awakens to find dense, rolling layers of ash-gray clouds spanning to the far horizon, shrouding the city beneath a drab pall. He begins his day thinking it no different from any other. Though it is in the height of summer, an icy, enamelous chill sifts into the air later that day until it becomes colder than the depths of winter. Then the sun sets and darkness falls. The night does not end, as there is no sunrise to follow. Bizarre and frightening apparitions begin appearing across a city and world shrouded in an inexplicable darkness. It is only the beginning of an unfurling, deepening nightmare, one that will take Ambrose on a terrifying journey of self-discovery and revelation. For Ambrose and everyone in the world around him, the days of darkness have only just begun. And you guys, that is absolutely the truth. I mean, it is an unfurling darkness, unfurling horror. There is a sense of utter futility taking place in this novel. Stephen Zimmer has done an excellent job of making this scene, this setting of just despair. The best way I can say it is despair. It's frightening despair. I mean, it's horrible. This world that he has built is horrible, and I mean that in a good way. I mean, he has built a horrible world for these characters to exist in, and these characters are existing in this horrible world because they are not good. These characters in this novel, they are not good people. They are not good souls. They're not the kind of characters that you root for. What Stephen Zimmer has created is a parallel for basically the end times. He has created for us a commentary on what society is headed toward. This story, if you read it in depth, if you read it and see the symbolism in it, if you read it and feel it, it is full of despair. It is not a hopeful book. It is not bright and sunny and cheerful. None of the characters can be redeemed. In the materials that Stephen prepared for us for the book tour that he's on, he says here, Days of Darkness is a standalone novel and marks the first full-length novel in the franchise following 3 volumes of Hellscape's short stories. Visceral and macabre, the Hellscape's worlds have strong appeal to readers who enjoy authors such as Clive Barker, Wayne Barlow, H.P. Lovecraft, and others. And yes, I see H.P. Lovecraft in so much of what Stephen put together for this novel. I saw this sense of futility going on in this novel. Our main character, Ambrose, is a character that you just can't root for, okay? I did not root for him at any point in this story. In fact, there were a couple of times in the story we're going along in the narrative, and I thought, okay, it's time for one of these vicious, horrible creatures to figure out where he's hiding and just take him out. It's time for Ambrose to die. I was actually rooting for the death of the main character in this book. That's how well Stephen created a despicable character. That's how well Stephen created a sense of hopelessness, of moroseness, of just despair. Okay, he has created a world where we are in the end times. The city that Stephen has selected for the main action is anywhere USA. All right. He doesn't define which city we're in. Like, he doesn't say Ambrose woke up in Chicago this morning. We don't get it's Chicago or Detroit or LA. We don't get that, but we do get that it's a city. It could be any city. Okay. We have Ambrose working in a government building. It could be any government building, right? He goes to work out in a gym, right? It could be any gym in any city. The high-rise apartment he lives in could be any high-rise apartment. It's anywhere USA where this takes place, because it could be any one of us who gets stuck in this situation, any one of us who's not a voter who could get stuck in this situation in any city, in any country, right? He has put together this world that is totally believable, and then destroyed it, and then made it just full of despair. Now, I just mentioned there's like a sense of futility going on, and here's what I mean by that. First of all, this book is just filled with symbolism. It is rich with symbols and allegories everywhere you look. Every page well, every page you turn, but every page I scrolled through, right, there was symbolism and metaphor. It was rich with that. Okay, so everything I was noticing and catching, I think, was there on purpose. And we had our main character, Ambrose, going from home to office, back to home to a colleague's house, back to home. Okay. He was doing this back and forth, and it was all futile. There was like no point to his existence. Okay. His only point in his existence was getting up and going to work, getting up and going to work out, and then going to work. And then there wasn't really a raison d'etre for him, right? I didn't feel that Ambrose had a purpose in his life other than to just keep going up the corporate ladder, to keep making more money, to be greedy, to be gluttonous, all right? And to be prurient, okay? He seemed to be quite involved in sexual encounters, okay? These were his sins, and he just didn't have any other purpose except to go after what he wanted and to be lustful in what he wanted, okay? That was his purpose. And it just all seemed futile. That futility happened again when, the crap hit the fan and things were going badly and he had to get out of the city. Well, he got out of the city and he went to another place, and more things happened because, it's a story. More things happened. He had to come back to the city, though. There was a reason for him to come back to the city. The plot demanded it. He came back to the city, and that too felt futile. There was a futility to it. And I saw a parallel between the beginning portion of the story where that back and forth was futile, and the leaving the city just to have to come back to it. Again, that felt futile. And all of Ambrose's existence was futile. And I think, in my humble opinion, I think that's because he had no hope. Anyway, the point is, he has no hope. He doesn't have the Lord. He's not saved. None of the people in this story are saved. None of them. They are all living in post-rapture, and it's post-rapture, and they are alone with the evil. They are alone with the aftermath. They are in the days of darkness. It is awful. It's bad. You guys, it's bad. It's horrible. Stephen has built this world. He has populated it with monsters, with creatures that devour people alive. He has populated it with just gruesome imagery that is like I just read for you. It's visceral. I mean, you see it on the page, you smell it, you feel it. There's stuff going on that you don't want to be a part of. And Ambrose is a part of it because he had no hope, and he still has no hope. The sad, terrible, awful truth is he can't remember the time before. He doesn't remember what he did before. He doesn't remember anything before this frightening time. Like, he woke up one morning and it was foggy about what he did the night before. It was foggy what was going on, and he's wondering, did I have something in my drink? What happened? I'll just go to work. So he goes to work, which is futile, and he doesn't remember things that took place before this change in the world. He doesn't remember. So he doesn't remember that he should be calling out to the Lord for help. He doesn't remember that he should reach out for salvation, and he can't. It's all despair. It's all futile. It's all hopeless. It's a shame. It's a shame. It was a despairing book to read, but it was so well done that I felt the despair. As I was reading it, I felt the hopelessness. Very well done. Very well done. Yes. We're going to talk to Stephen Thursday, June 20th, and we're going to ask him lots of questions about the symbolism going on in this story. I mean, there was so much. You guys, in one section of the story, a couple of his friends come to pick him up from his apartment and take him to a party. And on the way, they pass an alley. And coming out of the alley is this weird shadow, this like creature shadow thing. And Ambrose sees it, and one of the other friends sees like this shadow thing, right, just out of the corner of their eye. And it's a foreshadowing of doom. It's a portent of evil things, right? And I just caught the fact that it's a shadow that's foreshadowing evil, right? Very well done. There's just so many like bits and hints of things going on. There's the party that they go to. There's 7 rooms in the party that they go to, and there's this grandfather clock that tolls their doom at 3 a.m. There's so many little symbolisms and and hints of malevolence in this story. And we're going to talk to Stephen about those hints of malevolence and all the symbolism and the richness thereof on Thursday, the 20th. I hope that you will join us for that, because I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. There is a lot to dig up and uncover and talk about. I welcome you to join us for that. I think I should stop talking. I don't want to give away spoilers about the book. Okay, I'm trying really hard not to give away too much, not to tell you, what becomes of Ambrose, who he interacts with. I don't want to give away too much, because I would like for you all to read the story yourselves and feel the same despair that I did. But I would like for you guys to read the story yourselves, because there's just so much, there's so much intricate detail in there that I think readers of Clive Barker, readers of H.P. Lovecraft will enjoy. It starts out like almost laborious. I mean, it's very deep, very descriptive, very wordy in the beginning. It starts out almost slow. I mean, the pace is bringing you into a world that Ambrose is unsure of. Okay. And so you get that feeling in the beginning. You're like, okay, I'm getting a feeling for the story. I'm getting a feeling for this. And the language that Stephen uses kind of leads you into the book. It leads you in. It's well done, because as you go through the story, the language changes a little bit and it picks up a little bit. And by the end, when we're in the end part of it, and I can't tell you the end, but when we're in the end part of the story, the language is faster. There's more clip to it. It's certainly not laborious in the end. It's just got a clip that you're reading fast, and it was an enjoyable read, despite the fact that it was all despair and hopeless. There you go. I'm going to stop talking now before I give something away. All right. I invite you guys to join us Thursday on the 20th to hear more about it from the author's perspective. You guys, thumbs up for despair. Thumbs up for despair. Well told. Thank you for tuning in.